Good evening, everyone. I would like to welcome you to the Unionville Town Board meeting, June 17th, 2026. We'll open with a pledge to the flag, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, God, indivisible, liberty, and justice for all. Okay, motion to approve minutes from May 20th.
Make the motion.
Second.
One second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, thank you. Start out with the finance report, end of May. In the general checking account, we have 1,111,848. Miscellaneous receipts, 22,654. General money market is 120,313. General New York class is 2,801,038. General New York class reserve fund, 10,333. That brings that total to 4,066,186. The highway checking account, 587,291. Highway money market, 33,600. New York class highway is 32,556. The West Clove Mountain Bridge reserve account is 622,363. Highway New York class equipment reserve is 210,143 for a total of 1,495,952. Total of both accounts is 5,562,139. Overall, year-to-date net incomes are favorable by 174,000 versus the budget due to the timing of expenses. Year-to-date revenue was down 12,000, mainly due to lower recycle fees and interest rates. Overall, May year-to-date expenses are favorable to budget, 174,000, again, mainly due to the timing. I'd like to remind everyone that community night is coming up here June 26th from 6 to 9:30. It's here at Town Hall. We'll have several food trucks, be a number of tables set up with different town departments to talk to you about what we do here. Well, I encourage you all to come, and then the night will finish out with fireworks at the park. On Sunday, June 28th, from 8 to 5 p.m., there'll be competitive horse show at the Albrecht Equestrian Center down the street here from Town Hall on Duncan Road. Attended the Arlington Jazz Machine concert. That was really nice. Have a fun time with them. And also the draft horse, the annual draft horse, was a success. We had great weather, and the parks guys did a great job getting that facility ready. Councilman Redinger.
I've been reviewing some of those climate smart community grants that we would qualify for. Thus far, I haven't found anything that would be particularly beneficial or that we would really qualify for. I'll continue looking. It seems like a lot of the flood related grants would be grants that you would apply for if you had critical infrastructure like buildings that were consistently getting in the way of flood water. But as far as I know, our flood water tends to be in areas that are not causing substantial problems to town buildings. So I'll keep looking, but I mean, it doesn't look like much would particularly benefit us.
Okay, appreciate it. Councilman Harrington?
Yeah, I'd like to report that if you go up north on Chestnut Ridge, finally the bridge above Hall's Corners is open. So our residents can access that road. It takes them up to the Millbrook area. However, if you want to go east to go down to Dover or towards Sharon, that bridge is now closed. So you have to detour and follow the signs. Also, I want to commend the highway department, doing a great job after the last storm. A lot of branches down around town. some trees down and everything was cleaned up pretty quickly. That's all I have.
Councilman Derlin?
Yeah, I have, well, first I'd like to say, congratulations to all the people that put on the horse pull this weekend. I got a chance to go for the first time in a couple of years, so it was really well attended. I think like you said, Steve, if you want to do something that's kind of uniquely Union Valley, I would go check that out. And then the other thing I've been working on is reviewing, unfortunately, another lawsuit that just came in. So we just were served with an Article 78, so I've been reviewing that.
And we'll be talking about that later on in the meeting. Councilman Pittman.
As Supervisor Frazier and Councilman Derlin said, I also attended the horse pull this weekend. It was a really good show. Fire department provided food and refreshments. Next show is June 28th. I believe the fire department is going to be there once again, providing food and refreshments. And I would like to thank Loretta and her staff. They did a wonderful job at the horse pull. That's all I got.
Thank you. Town clerk.
Thank you. I've been working with resident Mike Marr closely for the final rollout of the first batch of Hometown Hero banners. That does not mean we are stopping. We are going to continue collecting those for the second batch. There's no deadline for submission yet. The applications can be found on the website, and you're more than welcome to email a high-res picture, or you can drop it off here at Town Hall. The first batch should be up by July 4th for the 250th anniversary of America. In other Veterans Office affairs, the Dutchess County Veterans Office is looking to come to Town Hall possibly in mid-July to set up a table if residents and anyone has questions. So we're in conversations with them. And also we're still looking for more residents to volunteer for our 200th Unionville birthday, which is next year. So if anyone has any interest, we are more than happy to hear your ideas. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Highway Superintendent.
Okay, first off, phones at the highway garage and our internet. Both been out for over almost a week now. The phones are finally back on as of yesterday. I still can't get emails. We're working on that. If you need to get me and you can't get me on the phone, the landline, call the cell phone. I always respond. We did storm cleanup, as was mentioned. The area that was hit the hardest was up around the fountains of Millbrook, up on Flint Road, Old Canby and Mallory through town. That was about the worst of it. The crew had everything open back up by 7 o'clock that night. Other than that, we've been working on pothole filling, some pipe crossings that settled through the winter. We've been fixing those. We're mowing the sides of the roads. We're looking to change a large pipe on North Parliament. North Parliament, the south end is due to be resurfaced this year. So we want to change that pipe out before that happens. We did oil and chip 2 weeks ago. The process that we're using this year, which is new to us, but it's highly recommended. We'll be going through next week or week after at the latest, sweeping the loose stone off, and then we're going to do something called fog sealing, which actually helps the oil and chip stay in place even longer than would normal. We may be putting off paving the roads till later on this year, depending on what the price of asphalt's doing. Right now, it's just skyrocketed, so we're hoping that the price is going to come down. And lastly, I think we did pretty fair at the auction with our surplus equipment. So I would recommend the board just approve the sale of the stuff. I think we did okay.
Okay. Yeah, I heard on news this morning that oil prices are starting to drop. So
Yeah.
hopefully the longer we wait, the better that'll be for us.
Diesel's already gone down almost 50 cents a gallon.
Yeah. We'll keep an eye on that. Animal control, I don't give for that. County legislator.
So it's grant season. Everybody's going after grants. The Dutchess County MIG grant, which is a municipal investment grant. I'm happy to say that there were 4 organizations from District 22 that applied that were all eligible, one being Unionvale, one being Beekman. And then there were 2 other organizations that applied, and hopefully we do very well, and hopefully all 4 get it. Another grant opened up, which is the WQIP grant through New York State DEC, which covers everything from land acquisition to vac trucks and equipment of that nature, and the dam replacement grant as well. So if that's something you guys are interested, it is currently open. And then the last bit is Dutchess County does a program called Honor a Vet. They go around in multiple different towns and they hold events for people that have served that are no longer with us. And there will be a ceremony for Philip Bauer tomorrow at 9 a.m. at the Beekman Community Center if anybody would like to attend. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any public comment on agenda items? Okay. That brings us to surplus auction results. As Ed mentioned, we think we got a fair price for the stuff we were offering. I don't know if I can get a motion then to accept this and allow it to be processed.
I'll make the motion.
Have a second on it?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. Okay, the Parks Department tractor, they've got a 75 horsepower Kubota tractor. Which is plenty of power, but it's an undersized tractor. And I used it to brush hog in the back here. And even with just the brush hog as the attachment, the thing is unstable because it's a small frame tractor. What I would like to propose is that we replace that tractor, same horsepower rating with a larger frame tractor and get a batwing mower for it. So that they can, I talked to the dealer, we can get a 17-foot wide batwing mower. Help them tremendously to keep up the mowing here. They're currently mowing with 100-inch and I believe maybe a 10-foot mower. And they just struggle to keep up. Also, it could get a couple of attachments with it because we can get the newer tractor would have hydraulics out to the bucket. It would have a skid type attachment plate where they could interchange bucket or grapple rake, other things that would do the work here. The tractor is around 70,000. I figured we'd be all in for about 100,000 on that. I'm going to look at, I just spoke with the dealer. They would also offer financing for us. So we could split that number over several years. I'm just throwing that proposal out there. If you think there's interest in doing that, I'll get more details on it for you. What the tractor I'd looked at was Massey Ferguson. I spoke with several people who are in the business and they sort of think that's a quality tractor up there. It's also available through Sourcewell, which eliminates a hassle for us, shopping bids wise.
How old is the current tractor they got? Any idea?
I bought that when Rob Mattis bought that when he first came here, I believe, and I don't recall exactly when that was. But it's more than 10 years. It may be closer to 20.
And they'd be looking to sell that off.
Yeah, yeah. And I bet we could get a year's payments out of that tractor there.
And that's gonna ask.
Yeah. I bet we'd get somewhere between 15 and 20,000 for that tractor.
That would help.
I spoke with Ed about it. You can give your opinion on that, Ed, if you don't mind.
Massey Ferguson for a pretty good tractor. That's some folks that have, and they seem to be really pleased with them. I believe there's still non-Perkins diesels in there, which is pretty reliable diesel. I wouldn't be opposed to investing. Dollar for dollar, I think you get good value.
Any comments?
I think
I
what
guess-
we do for replacement, one, for the instability reasons. We certainly don't want somebody to get hurt, killed. And 20 years, long time on a tractor.
Were you gonna say something, Ken?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, just see what the prices come in at,
Yeah.
and then obviously separate the attachments out.
Right.
What is available and what they cost, and
Right.
we can go from there.
Yeah, I'll come back with a more detailed report then. I didn't want to waste anybody's time. Into this was something we could entertain. Okay. So ago, there was an accident on Roswell Road that took out the a vehicle parked at the Roswell Farm. And it's the third time in 2 years that they've had a property damage on that curve there. They lost a shed one year, another vehicle the other time. Then a couple days later, coming to work, I noticed that the guardrail through the curves here. Well, prior to that, the pole going the other direction was taken out. Power was out for the area. The owners there at Trade Farm asked if we would submit a request to the county about doing a traffic speed study there. Coincidentally, earlier today, I received a list from the county on the roads that they intend to do, and most of the ones in Unionville are at the upper end, bordering Dover, that they want to look at. But they did say if any requests for additional research was to suggest it, and I did put the suggestion in, but I would like to get a full board support for that, and I can send them an official letter then tomorrow. If
What's the current speed at 55?
55 through there, I don't know what, they'd probably drop it to 45.
Yeah, it's definitely a little twisty for 55. I mean, I know they put suggestive signs to lower your speed in the corners.
Remember we tried to do it on,
Or flying to the road, it's dangerous, so.
I think we tried to do it on Waterbury once,
I believe that was successful, because I don't think that's 55 anymore.
years ago. No, it's more like 85, I think.
It depends on who it is, but yeah, I think that's 45 coming up off of 82 now.
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember. Didn't the state have to chime in or
Yeah,
something on that?
yeah, the county would submit the
Okay.
data to the state, and then, yeah, they approve.
I looked into that. Residents.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know what the speeds were of the vehicles that were traveling. It may have been over 55. I don't know, but through those curves there, it certainly is not. That's not set up for 55.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So I guess I'll ask for a motion then to send that, full support letter to the county.
I'll make that motion.
Get a second on that?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, thank you.
The speed limit on Chestnut Ridge was dropped recently. It had been 55 and they dropped it to 45 on a long stretch that's coming in from.
Maybe I think that's one of the ones they're gonna look at, and they're probably gonna see whether people are abiding by it.
So far, so good.
Yeah, we'll see.
Although there hasn't been any traffic on that road for 6 weeks because the bridge was
Yeah.
closed.
They may request a formal resolution. If they do, Steve, just let me know. Whenever.
Sure. I want to move to table this reconcile the capital improvement line. I found there's a couple projects that have been completed, that there's still money allocated to. And there's one that has a negative balance. I want to rectify that, but haven't been certain on how to do that properly. So it's gonna take a little more research, just to make sure we do that with the right way. We can the money is kind of sitting there, but I don't know that it's any real cash is going to transfer anywhere. So I just need to make sure that we do it properly in the ledger.
We just asked, the CPA, Egglet.
Yeah, I asked him, but based on the response I got and doing a little further research, I'm not certain. This was kind of an internal ledger rather than the actual public budget line. So I'm not, he had offered some suggestions, but I don't know that they apply to this because there is not going to really be any physical transfer of money. It's just straightening out the accounting of the existing funds.
Yep, okay.
We've got to figure that out, but I'll revisit that. That brings us to the removal bond for the cell tower. I sent that all to you last week. You have a copy of it in front of you. When I first looked at this, I thought it was light, real light.
So did I.
And spoke with Ed and our building inspector. And all of us agree that, this is real light. I sent him an email suggesting $100,000. I don't even think that is a lot, based on what they say they're gonna do.
Yeah.
Especially, in the future, they don't, with inflation, it certainly is not gonna be enough. He called back and said the most that they've ever put out on one of these towers as a bond is 70,000. I just wanted to get the board's feelings on this. I explained to him that I don't want to leave the town at risk.
Yeah.
If that company folds and we end up being the owners of the tower to dismantle it.
And I'm actually glad to see that we're finally talking about this because I brought this up when the original contract was signed with Homeland Towers and the town. I brought up this, removal issue, and I'm glad to see we're finally doing something about it. Right? So, you don't want the exposure or being responsible.
Right.
If the technology goes away to maintain or pull down that tower in the future.
Did they ever do like an escalation bond? Where you could escalate it based on inflation or something over the years?
I haven't seen one written like that. Doesn't mean one doesn't exist,
Yeah.
but I've never seen.
Just throwing it out there. If we
Yeah.
we go to work today, but not in 20 years, just.
Yeah.
I imagine that wouldn't be considered, right?
What's that?
It's hard to imagine that wouldn't be considered.
Right,
Yeah.
especially if you're bonding something to be torn down, usually it's
Yeah,
so far out
Right.
that this number wouldn't make
it's low to
different
begin with,
in
but
20 years anyway.
yeah.
We've already run into cases where things that town boards have done in the past that seemed like it made sense have left us in a bind because we're now paying for that. They just couldn't foresee how much prices would work.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
I think we know what we're talking about.
Yeah. What's the feeling here? I mean, this certainly is not enough.
No.
What's the average lifespan of these towers?
All depends on maintenance. I mean, they're galvanized, so they will last a while, but if you don't maintain anything, it could deteriorate, foundations could deteriorate. All depends on how you're taking care of it.
Just say an average, I wonder.
I mean, I've seen stuff that was built in the 50s that's still standing today. You look at some of the big old AT&T long line towers that were built in the 50s, still up there today, like the one on Depot Hill.
Yeah.
But again, it all depends on how well you maintain it.
It was probably a heavier gauge metal at that time.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just saying that, so if you did something in the 50s,
I mean, I would say
$2,000
This is
song would have been.
That's a good
lifespan, I mean, 40 to 50 years, I'd say.
Yeah,
It's probably average.
I don't know, just be interesting to.
Yeah, and then
See that
the other point I made to him too, as well, is if his company defaults.
Yeah.
And it becomes the property of the town, all the work would have to be done at prevailing wage.
Yeah. True.
Which, we all know what that does to the cost of a project. You know, I'm just trying to look out for the residents here in the future.
Yeah.
I honestly not sure 100,000 would cover it, but it's certainly a lot better than 33.
Not in 50 years, yeah.
What's the next step here?
Dean, what do you think?
Well, I would say let's see if there is escalation. I haven't heard one. I don't know if that doesn't mean that it doesn't exist, so it's something we can certainly explore and then go back to negotiating with them, see what they said.
Okay.
Push comes to shove, it's our fault. Okay?
Ultimately, we have some leverage.
Yeah.
On
I'm,
of what we would require for.
yeah, I suspected that,
You would
but
have to weigh that against what's typically been done, what's been done before in the past. So some of those numbers may not be as advantageous and might be something you.
yeah, because that was one of the questions I asked him when he started spitting these low numbers out to me. I asked him if those were owned by municipalities. And he said the majority of them were, but I suspect that they weren't looked at closely like we're looking at this.
Yeah.
Or by folks in the business
Right.
that know what this stuff costs.
Yeah.
Or they could have been different sized towers.
Yeah, well, these rates here that were being quoted just seem ridiculous to me.
Yeah.
I would love to see somebody come in and do the job for that money.
I think they're low for today's standards, let alone like
Yeah.
30 or
Yeah.
40 years.
So let's just see if Ian can figure something out with that and then we'll,
Yeah, I could take a look into it and some of the requirements, the basis for the requirement might give us some leverage as well as to why. Some of the whys might answer what the costs are. So Steve, I can reach out to you.
Okay.
Tomorrow. We can talk about it.
Okay. I'd like to belay this F, the Article 78 discussion until after our executive session. Motion to do so.
Make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. In the past couple meetings, we discussed radio upgrade for the highway trucks. Just a recap, they have been having some issues with being able to communicate in certain locations in town. Basically what we call dead areas for radios. Called the company. They have an updated system that operates off of several different radio towers, depending on where the truck is, where the strong, would receive the strongest signal from. Ed reported that eliminated a lot of the problems that they were having. So I think it, is a good move to move forward and go forward. As we also checked at your recommendation, Kevin, checked the condition of the existing radio equipment. And that was determined to be up to par. So it does seem to be the older system and just the geography of town is causing the problems. Any questions on that? It's not.
We talked
Okay.
about it.
Councilman Redinger, would you like to read that for us, please, on number 45?
Sure. Town of Unionville Town Board Resolution number 45 of 2026. Resolution authorizing contract for new communication radios for highway department trucks. Whereas the communication radios in the highway department trucks are old and the technology is outdated, which is causing communication problems in various areas of the town of Unionville. And whereas pursuant to General Municipal Law 103-16, municipalities are authorized to purchase equipment and contract for services related to installation, thereof through the use of a contract let by the United States of America or any agency thereof, any state or any other county of political subdivision or district therein, if such contract was let in a manner that constitutes competitive bidding consistent with state law and made available for use by other government entities. And whereas the town of Unionville is a member of the interlocal purchasing system, TIPS, which is in compliance with the general municipal law 10316. And whereas the town of Unionville has been provided a proposal from A1 Communication Systems, Inc. through TIPS, contract number 250106 for the purchase and installation of communication radios for the highway department trucks in the amount of $13,391.09, with an additional fee of $150 per month for use of the trunking system. And whereas the Town Board of Unionville wishes to award the contract to A1 Communication Systems, Inc. for the purchase and installation of communication radios for the highway department trucks in accordance with the annex proposal. Now therefore be it resolved as follows. 1. The recitations above set forth are incorporated in this resolution as if fully set forth and adopted herein. 2. The Town Board of the Town of Unionville hereby awards the contract for the purchase and installation of communication radios for the highway department trucks to A1 Communications, Inc. in the amount of $13,391.09, with an additional fee of $150 per month for the use of the trunking system in accordance with the annex proposal. 3, the Town Board of the Town of Unionville hereby authorizes and directs the payment of such purchase and service from machinery contractual expenditures budget line number 5130.4. And 4, the Town Board of the Town of Unionville hereby authorizes a supervisor to execute a contract for such purchase and service in accordance with the annex proposal.
Have a second on that, please? Okay, any further discussion?
Do we know if this radio system will cross communicate with the fire department? Because I know sometimes there's joint radio in winter conditions when there's ice and things of that sort.
I did not ask directly, but I know these radios are programmable.
Told me that.
I thought he had mentioned
Okay,
something like
separate
that to
channel
me,
or
yeah,
something. Okay.
yeah. Okay,
That's good.
Talk town to town as well.
It's actually, it's a good feature too to have.
Especially on shared services. You don't get blacked out with all those trucks.
anyone else? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Councilman Harrington,
Aye.
Councilman Redinger,
Aye.
Supervisor Frazier,
Aye.
Councilman McGivney,
Aye.
Councilman Derland.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. All righty, I didn't have a lot of time to work on this Brightly software, but I have been in contact with the representative. He's gonna do some work on adjusting the price. I did put into Google to AI, relying on that to search for software that is comparable. It came back with one. I didn't have a chance to write down the details, but I want to have a couple more for you for the next meeting. But it seems though as though most of the other software companies charge per user. And I came up with about 21 users that we would have using that number. The other company did come in more expensive than Brightly. Brightly has an unlimited number. Once you buy their software, they don't care how many people use it. I kind of calculated we'd start out with 21 being department heads and the people who do the repair work around here that would report to department heads through the software. But I'm thinking once we get and if we go forward with this, if we were to get involved with this, we would probably discover that we could put more and more people on it as we could become familiar with it. So I think that's a big advantage having that unlimited.
You're doing that analysis. I mean, that's good due diligence.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense too. If it's a lighter program for a smaller town, they would charge per person, the smaller towns would have less of an issue with that.
Right. I think I mentioned at the previous meeting that they offered a 2-week trial period, but
Yeah.
I think they'd give us any of us any time to figure out how the thing works.
Yeah.
I'll come back next meeting with more details. He's gonna come up with some kind of discounted offer for us as well. The other thing I wanted to find out, I believe he told me initially that this is available through a purchasing co-op similar to TIPS. Make it easier for us as well. So I'm gonna verify that for the next meeting. Okay, we talked previously about a resident that has interest in harvesting firewood from town property. I presented that to the insurance carrier. I think I sent you the response
Yeah.
back. They did not say not to do it. They offered some guidelines and they're pretty much along the line that I had in mind, and our attorney agrees for the most part, I believe, as well. What do you guys have any opinion on that? We would restrict it strictly to wood that's already fallen.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be cutting of trees that are upright.
I read what they wrote as well. They don't seem like they're against it, so
Right.
we can get some sort of application drawn up or
Right.
however, just to cover us, was it indemnification or something like that?
So there's
Kinda
a number of different things you can put together, right? May even want to consider formalizing it under a local law. This way you would have fines in place and more enforcement available if you don't follow the rule. Where we're doing it may have some implication as well. What areas that we're going to allow people to go on to. If it's on parkland, that could be some issues with that. But the devil's in the details. The more we develop this and what it looks like, we certainly can put it together. We certainly can put together an application form with all sorts of, indemnification and legal protections, insurance requirements, everything else.
To me, it would probably be, a lot of it would be about access. Where they can access the properties, we want to see somebody just driving across the fields.
Right. That's something that I wanted, to get your feeling on, and you think we need to work with the park manager on that as well. I think unless it's got a gravel path access, that.
There's some areas that get wet, swampy.
Yeah, we don't want anybody driving off of the gravel beaten path.
Yeah.
Thing I was thinking is that we would restrict it from a time period, late fall to early spring, when there's less people in the parks.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's a good idea to have this going on when, the park is getting heavier use.
Yeah, do you say you can access, if it's accessible by the town road, you can go back a certain number of feet or something like that, and then if you're trying to access the park through the park, then you have to notify the park department, something like that.
It's going to be so actually dependent on each kind of situation that you're setting up, right? If people are coming in, they're just taking trees that are already down. That's one issue. If they're creating paths, that's a different issue, right? 'Cause that's a different.
Yeah.
That may not fall under what you want in the situation. So, everything from approach to what they're doing while they're there and what they're doing with it afterwards. All of that would be be taken into account. If it is on parkland, that requires some other considerations with regards to alienation of parkland. So, because the trees are property of the park, they are part of the park. So if you start removing that, then you're taking parkland with you. So, if the basis for that is forest management, that's a viable public purpose to do it. So why people are doing it, what they're doing, and what they're doing with it afterwards, all of that's going to play into this. There's going to be a lot of factors in how we can create the program, but it can be done.
I think it should be for town residents only, not town residents and their guests. And I think it should be only for non-commercial purposes.
I agree. I'll start working with Benny and attorney here. And start putting some stuff together and bring back.
Probably pay to look at the land that we actually own.
Yeah, I think that's something else we should do is put a map together.
Yeah, location's gonna be key. Once you
Right.
figure out your locations and what you want to do, and those conditions, access points from there. The insurance company, definitely laid out a lot of the legal clauses that we should have, insurance requirements. But I would strongly advise the board to consider penalties and enforcement action for people in violation of this, because we're not monitoring it. People could start getting themselves in trouble if they start taking trees down. That's huge liability. So things to consider.
I think we should also limit the size of trucks that are coming in to do that work, and possibly trailers also. I mean, we certainly don't want 40,000-pound dump truck driving down
Right.
those.
Yeah, I mean,
roads.
and that would go towards more personal use versus commercial use. You can limit it to the number of trees, number of cords. You could limit it in a number of different ways. Which presumably, if you're limiting it in that way, you would allow more people to take advantage of it as well. So, so there's a number of considerations just on how you're going to structure the program, and then from there we can back that into a legal structure and application process to make it work.
I think it's a good idea to code it into town law. That way, if we do have a problem, there's teeth behind it, and there's prosecutorial process that I think also would dissuade people from trying to do something that they're not supposed to be doing.
Agree.
It also formalizes the application process requirements and it has a number of advantages, I think. So,
Okay. I will do some more work and revisit this again. Initial report, something I neglected to mention. The 30-day period for the two referendums that we had with the number 11 lease and then the purchase of the highway truck has expired with no challenge. So we're gonna go. Any public comment on town issues? Okay, motion to pay the bills, please.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, I'd like to make a motion to go in executive session for legal advice and Article 7 proceeding.
Make the motion.
Second.
Favor? Opposed? Okay, we'll return thereafter. We will have a resolution to discuss after this meeting. You're welcome to stay, but that will be the last course of business before we adjourn. Motion to return from executive session.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. No monies were allocated and no decisions were made. Jim, do you want to say anything before we move forward?
I will be brief. There's a pending litigation. The town has yet to appear and begin the defense of it. It's called Hardesty against the town of Unionville. It involves several petitioners and plaintiffs other than the Hardesties. And the defendants include the town board as well as the what I'd call the Freihofer family group, as well as Mr. Fiscaldo. And so we have to deal, not we, you're called upon to deal with obtaining counsel and making sure that everything is done ethically and in a proper way. And so I've prepared a draft of a resolution for you to consider.
Okay. I can read that for this here. It's resolution number 46, defensive litigation. Whereas on June 4th, 2026, various petitioners filed a hybrid Article 78 proceeding and declaratory judgment action in the Supreme Court of the State of New York and the County of Dutchess, which named the Town of Unionville Board as respondent defendant. And whereas the proceeding captioned Hans Hardesty et al. Versus Unionville Town Board et al. And further identified as index number 2026-52983, herein after the action challenges the adoption of local law 1 of 2026 entitled a local law amending zoning code article 11, 210-86, 210-56E, and attachment 210-3 relating to the establishment of a special permit in the RD10 district for catering facilities with a temporary lodging component and the elimination of conference centers as a permitted use in the RD10 district. And whereas the filing of the action requires the retention of counsel, defend the interests of the Town of Unionville Town Board, the Town Board. And whereas the Martin petitioners have over time been represented by the Vanderwater and Vanderwater, the town's zoning and planning attorneys, in unrelated matters, which representation presents a conflict of interest, which, unless mutually waived, precludes Vanderwater and Vanderwater from representing the town board in this action. Now, therefore, be it resolved, and that the town board hereby determines, after consideration of the facts involved, that if Martin petitioners consent to the town board being represented by the action by Vanderwater and waive any conflict of interest related to that representation, it too waives any conflict of interest and authorizes the retention of Vanderwater and Vanderwater LLP to represent in the action and any related proceedings, appeals, or applications arising therefrom, such services to be provided at the firm's municipal litigation rates as previously proposed to the town, plus disbursements. But be it further resolved that if the above conflict is not mutually waived, that Vanderwater and Vanderwater is retained on the above terms to negotiate with the plaintiff's counsel for an adjournment sufficient to allow the town to retain defense counsel and, if necessary, to make limited appearance for the town in the action and apply to the court for a court-directed adjournment to allow such retention, and is further authorized to take such other action and seek such other judicial relief as may, after consultation with the town supervisor, be necessary to protect the town's interest, including but not limited to the acceptance of service on behalf of the town. The adoption of the foregoing resolution was duly put to vote on a roll call, which resulted as follows. And roll call vote, please. Oh, second, I mean, a second on the motion.
Second.
Is that what you were gonna? Okay. Okay, now we'll do the roll call.
Councilman Harrington,
Aye.
Councilman Reitinger,
Aye.
Supervisor Frazier,
Aye.
Councilman McGivney,
Aye.
Councilman Durland.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. All righty, our next meeting will be here July 1st at 7:30 PM. Motion to adjourn.
Make the motion.
Second.
Oh, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you.